Hello and welcome to Last Time On. This is the podcast for people who want to watch movies with actors from prestige television, but who's got time for that?
I don't know. Has Jean-Claude Van Damme ever been in something we could call prestige?
Well,
Expendables 2.
I don't even know if I would call any Expendables movie prestige. Just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's necessarily prestige.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Time Cop?
Time Cop.
No.
Again, it was good. Well, I wouldn't say it was good.
JCVD.
Was that the TV show? There's a TV
No,
show called
that's
Z-
Jean-Claude Van Johnson. JCVD is the, sad drama about a aged action movie star who's down on his luck and can't get any roles and then ends up in the middle of a bank robbery
Oh.
that revitalized his career.
That sounds like Birdman, but worse. Anyways, I'm Xhafer.
It's action star Birdman. It 100% is.
I'm Victor.
Okay.
Je m'appelle Ben.
And this is the only podcast where I'm not even supposed to be here today. You guys decided to watch this to cover an episode I wasn't going to be able to make. Didn't record that episode, and now you're making me watch this fucking movie.
That's
so
what we're
expect
doing.
a Dante level of sass from me for the next 45 minutes, listener.
What's he doing?
Nicotine fit.
Excellent.
And the reason we are watching this is because somehow in a action war movie, Jim Carter, our Mr. Carson, is the villain.
Yes.
This also just makes me very sad because
Air quotes villain.
I somehow ended up in a Jim Carter movie marathon because my wife and I
Really?
just watched Ella Enchanted, and he's one of the characters in that, under just a ton of makeup. He's a very
wow.
funny ogre. But watching both of these movies has just made me mad that Jim Carter is not in Jim Cotta.
Oh God, Jim Cotta. I couldn't even bear watching Jim Cotta on the MST3K version.
But I want to open this because I was very happy that Victor and I were talking about what can we watch, what's a movie that one of our actors has been in, and I'm glad we went with Jim Carter because I have a interesting relationship with the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah.
One just bit here, interesting thing about the French Foreign Legion is when you go to sign up, as long as you meet the fitness requirements and speak French, they will let you in, depending on how many people they need. And whatever name you sign up with, after your 5-year term of service, you get French identification papers with that new name. It is almost entirely non-French nationals who use it to get French citizenship, but you can use it to just clean slate start your life over as a Frenchman. Although that is less common, hence the, Foreign Legion. My French teacher from high school, I had gone off to college, and she sent me a documentary about the French Foreign Legion, and was just like, hey, something you might want to look into. And I'm just like, wait, do you think I need to start a new life? I just started mine. I'm 18. I think she was more just like, hey, I think you'd think this is neat, and also it would help you with your French. But
I just had an epiphany moment. I always thought it was the French Foreign Legion because they were fighting foreign wars, not because they were made of foreigners.
Oh, hold on.
Nope.
Do I know something that you don't? Holy shit. Hang on a minute.
Well, that's what makes it different than the American Foreign Legion, which
Yeah.
is just people
God,
from
let
America
me
who
savor
fought
this moment
overseas.
just for a second. No,
Yeah,
well,
marinate in it, Victor. It's fine.
No, I remember reading. I think it was in an article in Vice magazine actually about one of their reporters just for a story went and joined the French or attempted to join the French Foreign Legion and wrote about it. And I guess they're kind of lax on you speaking French as long as you can meet the physical requirements. But he says he was out there for 2 weeks training. And after 2 weeks, he got a letter on his bunk that he had to get one of his buddies to translate for him that said, "Thank you for your consideration. We're not accepting you at this time. You couldn't pass the obstacle course or whatever." And apparently they pay you something like $50 a day just to go out there and train, even if he didn't make it. And it was like, you could you can try again next year or something. I'll have to find that article because it was a really interesting read. Because yeah, like Ben said, I think they didn't ask for your real name or any proof of identity.
Nope.
So yeah,
That's the whole point of the French Foreign Legion is you are expendable.
yeah.
I don't care who you really are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
expendable, just like this movie, which I gotta say it was better
Which-
than I was expecting. I was
So-
not.
When we start this movie, we get a little bit of a scroll, and then we get 3 minutes of opening credits, which, God, 90s movies. But also, it opens with Edward R. Pressman Presents. This is a super famous producer of movies through the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. You have seen other movies by this guy, I promise, mostly because if you've watched other Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, you've seen this guy's name before.
Oh,
He's real big on this Presents thing. This is the guy who brought us 1994's Street Fighter.
no way.
Oh, hell yeah.
Every single Crow movie, all of them, good or bad.
Including
Wow.
the new one?
He's listed as he's dead, but he was listed as a producer posthumously on the newest one.
Oh, that's nice.
He brought us the Hebrew Hammer,
I love the Hebrew Hammer.
Badlands, American Psycho, and Blue Steel are some of his like more critically acclaimed movies. So he's got like movies that are like very well received and are generally agreed upon to be great movies. And then he's also got movies that are just trash. And I don't see a lot of middle. And I think this is in the middle. This movie
Yeah, I
surprised
agree.
me.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. I went into it expecting, oh God, and then I watched about an hour of it, stopped, played some Slay the Spire with the Teva King boys, and then came back and finished the movie at like 12:30 last night.
Yeah, I gotta say it's better than Street Fighter, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
not
I mean-
not as good as Saving Private Ryan. It's just somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
But did you guys
It's
notice
a lot better than some Jean-Claude Van Damme movies I've seen. This was
for sure.
way better than Lionheart.
And two things that are notable about this movie. One is that I think this is the only Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that does not have a single spin kick in it.
Yeah.
No.
He's a boxer.
And
Yeah,
he,
there's
he doesn't even
almost no kicking.
he doesn't even do the splits, which is like his thing. And the second notable thing is that did you guys notice that they misspelled Legionnaire in the opening crawl?
Yes.
I was like, oh wow, this was before. Well, that's what made me go look at the history of spell check. Apparently, spell check was invented in 1971. So whoever wrote that opening crawl didn't bother to proofread. This was back before Microsoft made it an automatic thing. You had to go in and click it to run spell check.
Yeah.
But-
I also want to call out our director here before we get into the movie, Peter McDonald. If you had to guess, you know what? This movie, I there's no way in hell either of you will be able to guess the movies on either side of this he did because it is tonal Whiplash. I would offer you some absurd amount of money in compensation, but there's no way. I want to hear your best guess. I'll give you 1994 and 2000 were the movies on either side of this. Just throw out the most ridiculous thing you possibly could think one of those could be, and then I'll tell you.
Titanic.
You know
That's
that was
James Cameron.
Very famously.
Okay, look, I haven't finished my caffeine for the morning yet.
I'm going to say 94, My Best Friend's Wedding, and 2000, Ballistic X versus Sever.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Good calls. 1994, he directed The Never-Ending Story 3, Return to Fantasia.
Oh, damn.
And in 2000, he directed The Extreme Adventures of Super Dave.
Okay.
Super Dave. Hey guys, I'm Super Dave. That guy?
Yeah.
See, I haven't thought about Super Dave in a long time. I used to love his bullshit when I was a kid.
His first lead directing role was Rambo 3.
And
the
so
Extreme
I believe in
Adventures of
solidarity,
Super
we should
Dave was
dedicate
his last
this episode.
theatrical film.
I think we should dedicate this episode to the brave fighters of the Mujahideen.
Nicely done.
That is the
man.
ending crawl of
I
Rambo 3
remember.
for anybody who
Yeah.
doesn't
I
know.
remember.
Now, he did, after the critical failure of The Extreme Adventures of Super Dave, went on to be a rather successful second director unit. He had done a little bit of it before that, like on 1994's Batman and Robin. But
my
also Rambo First Blood Part 2. He actually worked on Empire Strikes Back
No, he
as
did.
a second
No.
unit director.
Wow.
Tango and Cash, Labyrinth, Excalibur, a bunch of stuff. But after his career collapsed as a lead director, he was a second unit director on the first 3 Harry Potter films and then Aragon.
I remember Aragon. Wow.
And then The Golden Compass. Like all that was like his early 2000s was YA books into movies. And then he stopped doing that to go to a movie near and dear to Ben's heart, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Ooh. No, important to my story, not near to my heart. It's very different.
As I'm sure Ben's told the story on pod before, that was one of his earliest dates with his now wife.
I was about
go
to
see that movie.
make a guess for that. We're like, did you take Lo to see that movie?
It was a surprise. Like, I got invited by somebody who, like, hey, I'm going to see this movie. Take that girl you've taken on one date. Come with us. And I was just like, I'm just looking for an excuse to see her again.
Aww.
And so we went and saw that, and then we went back to my house to watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because I was just like, we need to watch a good movie.
That's funny. Is Glow an X-Men fan at all, or?
Not particularly.
Okay,
That
that
movie
sounds
did
like
not help.
that sounds like when I was a teenager. I took one of my very first dates ever out to go see Starship Troopers on opening day. She was not a fan. And the movie theater was so packed we couldn't sit together. So,
Oh.
yeah.
I distinctly remember going to see The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen on a date. I don't know. That's just I'm trying to
Yeah.
contribute to the conversation, guys.
No, that's
Well,
but
that movie
that was
doesn't
good.
contribute much either. I remember going in with high expectations, but I can't remember a damn thing about that movie. But anyway, let's talk about
Let's get in this movie.
so it is 1925, and we are in Marseille, France.
I believe it's pronounced Marseilles.
No.
Yeah.
That's some Michigan ass pronunciation
Kentucky.
right there.
Kentucky. I
like
when I was
Versailles?
visiting our friend Nick down there, I was like, oh yeah, I remember driving past Versailles, and I was like I went to like a party that was hosted by all Kentucky people, and literally like record scratch, everyone stops and looks at me, and they're like,
Wow.
you mean Versailles? And I'm just like, oh god.
Oh man, yeah. We open in early 20th century media strip club, and since this movie takes place in 1925, I'm trying to come up with a way to make this canonical to Downton Abbey. That Carson
it's
somehow.
entirely possible.
That
Uh,
maybe Carson. This is Carson's like little brother who didn't.
or
get
this is
the-
just Carson at his night job.
He flies over to France every night.
Mrs. Hughes, I need to head to France. I need to send goons after Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I gotta say,
And Thomas is just like, goons, you say? And he's like, not those kinds of goons, Mr. Barrow.
yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme enters. He's dressed like the most dapper I have ever seen him in his entire life.
We also get a really fun one-shot to start this movie off, which let me know that this is going to be better than I expected, because it means, like, hey, at least everyone here is coordinated enough to pull this off.
Yeah.
But Jean-Claude Van Damme is late. Don't worry, he'll be here. Well, he better be here. And he shows up, and we have ourselves some fight rigging.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And here is where we get my first bit of just like how powerful, how dangerous is Jim Carter's character.
Lucian Galgani.
Yeah, because
That's such a good
he's
villain name.
treated both as like he is like an Al Capone-esque I can send waves of goons after you kind of guy, like dangerous, he will chop you up and feed you to the fishes. And I am making my money slightly rigging boxing fights level goon, which is different.
Yeah. That reminds me of the first MMA fight I watched with Kimbo Slice, who was being, if you can go find that clip on YouTube, but my God, that is the most obviously rigged fight ever. Like, the media was trying to prop him up, or his, like, what do you call them? What do you call them? The guys who are like your media crew, whatever. His media goons were trying to prop him up as like the next big action star or big MMA star, and yeah, he punches the other guy once in the ribs, and then the dude just drops to the floor and taps out. It's like, wow, dude, he wasn't even trying. He wasn't even trying to make it look good. Anyway, nice.
Having done MMA, most of them I would not consider good actors.
You've never you were an MMA fighter? Shut up.
In college, yeah, I did MMA.
You were in MMA club.
Yeah.
Yes. Vic is asking if you were like an active participant in.
I wasn't like in UFC or something. No.
Yeah.
You're such a calm dude. I can't imagine you putting on boxing gloves.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. That said, my knees are very happy I stopped doing it. So we have our deal here where Jean-Claude Van Damme is supposed to, he's getting another shot at the championship, but he's going to lose. And it's one of those things where it's like, is he a big hotshot up-and-comer where you want to keep fostering that? Then why are you having him lose?
Right.
Where's the actual money in this? It's like, Ben, don't overthink this. This is just our excuse to get the story going.
Right.
But they're like, hey, we'll pay you double what you normally earn for a win to lose. And I did math at this point where I'm like, in this film, Jean-Claude Van Damme is 38.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. As a 38-year-old boxer, you're not going to, like, have a long run with it, whatever the local Marseille boxing championship is. There's going to be a 23-year-old who comes in and rocks your shit. So take the gosh darn money.
Go on, take the money and run.
But Jean-Claude, he's too proud
yeah.
to accept until he sees a woman.
Yeah, we get some flashbacks of him in the oh wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. We don't get the flashbacks till later, I think. Well, either way, it doesn't matter. But I love the other boxer that he's fighting against. Did you notice that in between matches he wasn't drinking water, he was drinking wine?
That's how you know he's French.
Yeah, bringing him a bottle of wine in between matches. That's hilarious.
So we find out that Jean-Claude's ex-girlfriend is now on the arm of Lucienne Carson. It's Katerina.
Yeah,
and she's just like, oh, I didn't want to see you again. And everything we find out about him, I'm like, I totally get that response. All of his flashbacks to their relationships stuff, like, he's an asshole.
What was the story? I can't remember. Does he leave her at the train station waiting, or was it the other way around?
So they were dating. He was like, hey, we're going to get married and go to America.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, for some reason, left her at the altar.
Oh, at the altar. Okay.
Yeah, and they never explain why. And it's weird because he's like, no, I can do it. I've changed. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we need to know what you changed from and to. If it was just, I had the chance and I had a chance to fight and I could not miss my chance to fight. And it's like, hey, now he's realized love is more important than boxing or, whatever it is. Mm. But instead he just abandons her and she's just like left in her wedding gown. And it's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't be stoked to see the guy who left me at the altar either.
He leaves her at the altar, and then I swear there's a flashback in here where he leaves her at a train station, or
he just doesn't make it to the train after the fight because of all of the goons and the murder.
There's a flashback to them at a train station when they arrived in Marseille.
That's what it was. All I know is I remembered that it looked exactly like the scene from Hot Shots where Charlie Sheen's character gets left at the train station. Yeah, they were going to take the train to America, but no.
It's a fast train. We know that this is a 90s film because there's boxing.
Yeah.
Which is one of those just like weird things where it's like, man, what is it with people from that age, like the age of writing movies? They're like, boxing's still cool, right? And it's like, no. Boxing hasn't been cool since the 70s. Mm-hmm. It was just cool when you were young. Mm-hmm. Just like me.
There was a cultural moment where boxing was cool again in the 90s, Ben. This was appropriate. When you had your Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield stuff. Like there was, we look at that now and go, oh, well, the ear biting,
That's what it was.
There was a time where boxing was very popular in this culturally.
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield, the guy from Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Got it in one.
Wow.
Anyways, so there's this whole bit here. He's going to fall for this fight. They're going to get enough money to go to America. She's going to leave her abusive Mr. Carson, who is a piece of shit and beats her up. We see multiple times.
Oh, yeah. Carson, he plays a real piece of shit villain in this. Like, damn.
We get to the fight. And in the second round, he decides not to throw the fight and just beats the shit out of the guy.
Yep.
Because Jean-Claude Van Damme has a writing credit. So it's just like, what if instead of taking the fall, I'm awesome?
Well, and it's also, he did exactly the same thing. This is the same origin story as Daredevil's dad.
Oh.
Where he's supposed to take the dive. Instead, he bets all of his money on him to win. Beats up the other guy because he's still got that fire left inside of him, and then the gang tries to murder him. Daredevil's dad, they get him. Jean-Claude Van Damme, he joins the French Foreign Legion. But
only the American Foreign Legion could have saved Daredevil's dad.
Did you notice that Van Damme was carrying?
If he came back as like a villain, where it's just like he wears a Legionnaire hat, and that's his affectation.
That's another thing of this movie. We get a lot of silly hats, like not just the funny Legion hats, but everyone did. Yeah, there's a lot of silly hats in this movie. So if you're a fan of silly
very
hats,
practical hats. The Legionnaire hats are very practical. They're in the desert. You want that back?
Yeah,
you want
that neck coverage.
Yeah, that is true.
Victor.
Yeah, well,
of all people.
Well, you know what I didn't have in when I was in the desert was one of those hats. I wouldn't. So yeah,
But also the thing that makes really this is one of those things where it's like I wish I could make 3 tweaks to the script because
Just 3?
If his plan is I'm going to have this fight and then immediately run away to America. who gives a shit about your pride as a boxer?
Right.
Do whatever gets you the most money. Make the bet that you're going to lose in the second round. Then, while Carson and his goons are like, haha, we have our money, you run grab your money. They're not hunting you, and then you run away with his girlfriend.
Yeah, I got to say, I think our main character here, Jean-Claude Van Damme, has like no character arc at all in this movie. Some of the other characters do, but not him. But yeah. Also, he was carrying his girlfriend's necklace in his boxing gloves this entire time. Dude, that necklace must stink.
Yeah.
Like if you get, dude, I don't know what it is about boxing gloves, but I trained Krav Maga for a couple of years, and I was not prepared for the stank of used boxing gloves.
Once again, Krav Maga! Ha, he, ha, he.
No, quit going for my groin!
No groin, no Krav Maga.
Oh, 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 oh!
Like, yeah.
So
So he makes a run for
Carson
it.
and his goons realize they've been duped. They're sending guys after Jean-Claude and his buddy Maxime.
His brother.
Or is his brother? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, the brothers of both of them die in
Wow.
this scene.
Oh, okay.
Lucian's
Yeah,
brother
Maxine
and
and
Jean-Claude
Renee.
Van Damme's, and Renee. Both of them are the brothers of our respective hero and villain. And I use the term villain very lightly for Lucian because I think the villain of this movie is imperialism, but we'll get to that.
That's true. He becomes the secondary villain pretty quick.
Yeah.
But there's a madcap chase, a cop gets shot, and now everyone thinks that Jean-Claude Van Damme did it. Also, Jim Carter's brother gets shot, Jean-Claude's brother gets shot. Oh no, our dream, no more dream of America.
Yep.
And it's like,
Jean-Claude hides
you know what?
in a truck full of lettuce.
I wish I could just tell everybody, like, hey, it's 1920s France. Going to America right now is a really good idea. Stuff's about
That
to
is
get
true.
rough.
Yeah. So while he's hiding in the truck full of lettuce, he sees the Legionnaire recruiting poster, and that's how we
Yep.
get the plot for our movie.
Yep.
Somehow
Yep.
he's going to make it back to rescue his girl from the mirror universe, Carson. That's what I wrote in my notes. Oh, he's going to rescue his girl. He's going to go. Okay, that's what these note means. He's going to join the Legion and then come back to rescue his girl from mirror universe Carson.
Yes.
That was
All right.
okay. Yeah. Sorry guys, it's still early in the morning. But then we
No,
get to
you're
my
good.
favorite part of the movie.
The part where he asks if they can win this time.
Who?
That's a Rambo 2 reference.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Knowing how things went with the French when they went to Vietnam? No.
No.
There was a there was a really great Reddit thread called I think it was World History Shitposting. I don't know. Either way,
Yeah.
the prompt someone typed in was imagine that all of world history is a movie. What are the biggest plot holes? And there was this great thread where someone was saying like, what's up with the French, man? There were these badasses who would go around just beating the shit out of every other country. And then all of a sudden they lose. They start losing back to back, World War I, World War II, Vietnam. What the hell? And then someone chimed in and said, well, yeah, it's because they were introducing a new villain. And to show off, the villain had to kill off the other villain. It was the Worf effect. So France is the Worf of the world.
I mean, France did win World War II.
And World War One.
They were on the winning sides there. They just had a hard road to get there. We were talking about this before you jumped on because it's all like the French military is like a joke these days. It's a punchline, but it's just like, oh yeah, the French. It's like they kind of got screwed in World War II. Like they had a really, really good like the Maginot Line is like, oh, the Maginot Line was terrible. It was it's like the Maginot Line
It worked.
would have worked. The Maginot Line worked so well that to invade France, Germany had to invade other countries to get to France to get around the defenses they had built. Like that's how it was not worth going through it. They had done a really good job, but it's just a joke these days.
Yeah.
So,
But-
it's unfortunate that history remembers it that way.
But what's not a joke is this recruiter. This is my favorite
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the movie. I fucking love this
The-
guy.
He looks like He looks like how Xhafer would have looked if he took his dad's advice and salted his facial scar.
It would have been about a 3-inch line on my cheek.
That would have been perfect. Your dad was right.
I know. I tell my mom that, and she gets so mad. Because it would have been like right through my beard too. Like the saturation, because of them sitting in front of a window, is too much to see. But like it would have been like through my facial hair. Like it would have been fucking clutch. It would have been a beautiful fucking scar.
Nice. That's
See,
funny.
I've just got one back here in my hair now. Nobody will ever see
It's
it.
fun. I got one right here myself from when I was a little kid. I have no idea where it came from.
Yeah. I have one on the side of my head from when I was a kid. And then I've got one right on my lip from a shotgun shell.
Nice. Wow. Was that another Kentucky story or Tennessee story?
No, that was in Michigan.
Oh, that makes sense.
I did skeet shooting as my high school sport. And we were at a winter shoot. And in winter, it is very cold. And it was a particularly cold day. And I was doing a practice round with some of my teammates. And one of my teammates just dusted this bird. Clay pigeons.
Nice.
When we say bird, we're not talking
Right.
about actual birds here, listener, if you're unawares. Just absolutely just smoked this clay pigeon. Beautiful shot. And as a joke, I called it a miss because it was like one of the most beautiful hits you'd ever seen. And I'm pulling, I'm also keeping score. So it's all like miss. And so when he opened his breech, he threw the hot empty shell at me as like a come on. And it caught the corner, like the if you've ever seen a shotgun shell, it's got the metal bottom, very hot because it had just fired, very
There was an
cold my
explosion.
lip, right? Very cold outside my lip, and it like caught the edge of my lip, and the temperature difference split my lip open.
Oop.
That's pretty epic.
And so now I've got a scar that's traveled from my actual lip to just below over the last 20 years. But yeah,
That's a nice scar.
Xhafer, this is
Yeah.
actually I have a question.
yeah.
I could look it up, but then we're not engaging as people. So
Sure.
this is why anybody who ever sends a "let me Google that for you" is an asshole, because you're ruining human interactions like this.
I've sent you so many. Continue.
What is the difference between skeet and trap shooting?
No, don't in the trap! In the trap!
Skeet shooting is a 8-station 2 house. Trap shooting is 5-station 1 house. So in trap shooting, the house is where the birds are thrown out of, right? The clay pigeons. In trap shooting, you're at a 30 to negative 30 degree angle. So you go 30, 15, 0, negative 15, negative 30 over the course of 5 stations. And the house is like 50 feet in front of you, launching it out into a field. If you've ever played Duck Hunt,
Mm-hmm.
the clay pigeons that go out the other mode that isn't duck hunting, that's trap shooting. Skeet shooting has a high house and a low house, and you have 8 stations where you shoot a high, a low, and then on some of them a double for 25 targets over the course. On trap, you do 5 from each station. In skeet, you do 2 to 4 from the stations to make a total of 25. Your first miss is an option because if you're doing the math, there's an even number with 8 stations and 2 or 4. So your first miss, you shoot over again. And if you don't miss, you shoot the last target twice to shoot a straight. And so you work your way around a semicircle in 7 stations. And then station 8 is in the center where the birds cross right overhead.
Okay, so it's just a matter of different setups of the.
They use the
launching.
same
Right.
type of clay pigeons in both, or
Use the same type of clay
Okay.
pigeons in both. They're the same size. They're like a little 4.5, maybe 5-inch disc.
Huh.
And then trap shooting is more to mimic duck hunting. And skeet shooting is more to mimic your like pheasant and quail hunting, your field, instead of your aquatic. Because you're going to be shooting birds from all different angles.
Oh, I had no idea. And I know there's a good joke here between the difference between skeet and trap, but it's evading me at the moment. So let me get back to you
Well, if you
guys
get
on
caught in a trap, you might get skeet.
that. I do remember I had an old boss who was big into duck hunting, and he wanted to invite me to go. He said, "Yeah, on the weekend you ought to go come skeet shooting with me." And I made the joke. I was like, "No, thanks. That's an activity I prefer to do alone." and he didn't get it, but like the guys who were 3 desks away were like giggling, like skeet. Anyway, let's talk about
shot.
Let's talk about this recruiter, dude. Because I fucking love this guy. I fucking love this recruiter. He's got this, he reminds me of that scene in Starship Troopers where he's like, good.
The mobile infantry made me who I am, and he's
got
half robot.
Yes. Let me ask you guys, does your brain ever just go to weird places? Because for some reason, I cannot get it out of my head, an image of this French Foreign Legion recruiter guy being on Sesame Street and having a bit every week where he's someone new comes into his recruiting office and he's, oh, you want to join the Legion?
I want to join the French Foreign Legion.
I don't know what it is. And he's got his thing. He's like, there are only 3 ways to leave the Legion. He's 1, complete your contract, 2, disability, or 3, in a box. And he's like, 1, 2, 3, I don't know what it is, but I want some kind of a show where with this guy, with people coming into his office every week. He's just, man, favorite character in the whole movie.
So from there, our hero, he is off to Morocco.
Yep.
And we have all of our new recruits. We get our team, and we have a bunch of people with very on-the-nose characterizations, so we can tell them all apart. And Guido immediately is like, let me show you the picture of my girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, you're going to die.
I know we can't.
I know that's guy's name, but you can't say that, right?
His name is Guido.
It's his name, but yes.
I'm aware. You can't say that, right?
DJ Pauly D's got a song called Guidos, or is like, being a Guido's a way of life.
Yeah, and that was an attempt to reclaim that very racist term.
Yeah. Okay, so this would be the equivalent of having a let me tone it down a bit. Of having a white guy character and his name's Private Cracker,
I would argue it's worse than that, but yes.
I'm trying to keep us not canceled here.
There's another one you could use.
There's plenty.
I do appreciate, though, Victor, that you were really
I guess,
digging into the 1920s racism and saying white guy, so we can't be Guido because Italians aren't white. They're Mediterranean.
Stop saying it, Ben.
But it's his name. But, okay. Anyway, we get Private G. We're going to call him Private G from now on.
Sure. I call him racist Italian stereotype in my notes.
He's that guy.
But he wants to become a war hero so that he can earn the love of his dear Anna's. Well, Anna loves him. Her parents don't. He wants to earn their respect. And I'm just like, well, once you're done in the French Foreign Legion, are you going back to Italy? Why didn't you join the Italian army?
Yeah, it's some weird choices here.
Yeah,
Is Anna French?
I venture to say he's been on 1 date with Anna, and she barely remembers his name. Poor guy, and he's got his.
I've always wanted to date someone in the French Foreign Legion. He's like, oh, okay, I'll go sign up. Man, what a great way to get rid of dudes. Maybe this is all a play by Anna.
But we find out that the Rif tribesmen have been fighting against the French and have killed 15,000 legionnaires.
And
tribesmen might be racist, but yes.
It's not. It's an accurate description. Man, some people are, like, words describe things.
Everything is racist. All of it.
Well, it's delegitimizing their nationhood is what it's doing. By calling them a tribe, you imply that they are not a legitimate country, and this is something that imperialism did. We named these things to make implications about them that are not true, to dehumanize them, to say that they were not a legitimate country, and that France is stabilizing the region, instead of just what they were actually doing, which was taking the land from the fucking people who controlled it and were a sovereign nation at the time.
Oh, yeah, but it's also, they are... not itinerant, but
name
nomadic.
a group that was called a tribe.
that still exists
that
today.
was not the victim of imperialism. It's
Well,
literally
everybody's been a victim of imperialism, Xhafer.
almost.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's what the word is used for, and
Oh,
it's
for
important
sure.
to recognize that. That's all.
They are the nomadic horse people of Morocco who are just like,
Riffs,
hey, the
yeah.
French shouldn't be here, and the French are like, I don't know why they are doing this. It's like because you're the imperialist invaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about how a riff warrior can cut off your head and skewer it like an olive on a martini stick or on a toothpick. And I spent way too much time trying to figure out the logistics of that. Like you have to slice it
You
off
just
and then spin it around
cut.
and then shink right through it. Because
Yeah, exactly. And then you put it into your dry vodka martini.
Vodka martini.
Chicken or stirred?
Do I look like I give a damn?
But yeah, we got our cast of characters here, and the sergeant chef, the head NCO of this platoon of recruits. I forgot his name, but I recognize this actor. He was in a lot of stuff, but he played a weapons dealer in Deep Space Nine, and that's where I first recognized this guy from. He's got a very
Yeah, Stephen Burkhardt.
yes, this guy's great.
He's the guy when Quark becomes a arms dealer.
That was a great episode. But yeah, we get Sergeant Chef, and this is a trope I've seen in a few movies where you have a group of recruits, and they go through their basic training and the hazing and all that from the instructor, and then this same unit, when it's time to go to war, these same group of guys, even the instructor, all go to war together. That is not how it works today. I'm not sure. Was it ever like that back in the day where they keep...
It was.
Okay.
It was actually a problem. So Foreign Legion different than most other militaries, but Victor, have you ever heard of a PALS battalion from World War I?
I have never heard of that, no.
So it was at the very start of World War I, they decided, hey, you know what'll really help unit cohesion? If you know the guy next to you. If you know the guy next to you, you're willing to fight a little bit harder, you're willing to protect him, like, he matters to you. So when the British are starting to recruit at the beginning of World War I, they're like, hey, all you guys from the same town, when you sign up, we'll send you off together. So you're fighting next to the guys you know, and you're able to push each other and do stuff. Well, then that means when an artillery barrage happens and everyone gets killed, all the men from that town are now just dead.
Yeah.
It was a legitimate, horrifying realization where, a year in, they're like, we need to move all these guys. You cannot be, because, hey, if 3 people from, your town died in the Somme or something, that's super sad.
But then the entire town.
If every guy from your town died in the Somme, that is existential.
Oh, man. Well,
I'm sad now.
It's fine.
But they get their haircuts, they get hosed down, and here we do get our Jean-Claude Van Damme butt shot. I hope
all
Beth was
butts, no
watching with
dong.
you for this.
Yeah, all butts, no dong.
Thank
Disappointing.
God. Yeah, we get some roughhousing in the barracks. We get Private G here is the target of the bullies in the recruit platoon, and we get a good fight scene, and these guys are just smashing up all of their furniture in the barracks. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to replace that furniture for you guys. You're recruits.
Probably not.
You're scum. They don't care. Now you don't have any place to sit. Good job.
And we do have a bit here where our Englishman Macintosh is immediately taking bets on the fight, where we see, he has his one character trait. He loves the gambling.
This is another movie trope where everyone just starts, the fight breaks out and someone starts taking bets and just starts grabbing money. How do you keep track of that,
Yeah.
I imagine that must be the
I don't
scam,
know.
is you don't keep track of it. You're just like, oh, sorry, guys.
That's probably
yeah.
part of it. You wait afterward to see who comes up to try and say they won. But we get our group of friends here, where 4 of our characters are now buddies. Elaine, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Luther, and
Luther,
Rossetti. I'll just use his last name. and
Good call.
Macintosh.
Now Luther, I recognize this guy. It took me a minute, but I've known this character or this actor for a long time because he was in the first Jason Bourne movie, in the Bourne Identity. This actor played the dictator that Jason Bourne was supposed to assassinate. And I remember specifically because there's a scene where they come back to him and this actor is just using the thickest accent possible. And it's a phrase I've been saying for 20 years. Just like, he's talking to his buddy after the attempted assassination from Jason Bourne, and he goes, "You want to kill me? You better kill me dead." I've been saying that for years. Better kill me dead the first time.
Well, our new friends now go out on the town, and they meet some toots.
They go to the brothel. Oh, man.
The one guy who's famously taken, they convince. Oh God, I was just like, this feels so.
Hey, before you go back to your girlfriend, you should get some syphilis from a Moroccan prostitute.
Get some honeymoon practice, they call it.
Man.
Oh,
yeah. There is.
We find out that Macintosh knows Arabic, which will be useful here in Africa. We then find out that Macintosh was discharged from the British Army because he was a degenerate gambler.
He was an officer in the British Army.
A major.
Yeah, he's fallen quite a long way. Yeah, I thought it was a little odd that the two of them. I know. Did Beth watch this with you, Xhafer?
no.
Oh man,
Not
she
really.
would have loved this scene where Van Damme and Macintosh leave the brothel to go back to the barracks and have a drink together.
Some implication.
But here's where we get our flashback where we find out that Jean-Claude Van Damme left Katerina, but we never find out why. It's annoying, and it frustrated me the whole movie. And then we have Carson. He sends two goons because there is a photograph of Jean-Claude Van Damme in training shooting a machine gun, and they're like, aha, we found him. He's in the French Foreign Legion. And instead of going like, and all of those guys are being murdered
He's gonna die
Morocco,
anyway.
it's done.
You
Hey,
don't
great.
have to send your best goons to go get him.
Yeah.
And a boxer.
Right?
The guy who you're building your whole scheme around.
Gone for 5 years, right? Like
Minimum.
So dumb. So dumb. This plan.
And plus,
Yeah.
when the journalists come over and they try to take some photos, Jean-Claude Van Damme's character objects. He's like, I'd rather not have a photo taken. And Sergeant Chef is all just like, shut up, you represent the Legion. I'm like, this guy's been in the Legion for 3 days. Why are you choosing him to represent? And plus, considering the demographics that they recruit from, people who are trying to escape, imagine most of them probably have a good reason for not wanting their photo taken.
Yeah.
Fair. So, but he's now sent two guys after Elaine, after Jean-Claude Van Damme, the boxer, and then he's got his hench goon, who seems the more committed of the two, where he's just like, yeah, I'll spend 5 years on one hit.
And what's the plan for getting out of there? Then you desert the Legion? Man, that's...
Well, we find out in a little bit that they've actually got a
they
plan
do.
to get
That's
out,
right. They
but
do have an exit strategy.
Before that, we should talk about they head out now. They're going to go to this fort. This is where they meet the other goons. And there's a whole thing where Private G passes out during the march. And so Jean-Claude Van Damme, whose name is Alan.
That's right.
I don't think
Elaine,
we've said
yes.
that yet.
Elaine, yeah.
Again. And throws him over his back and just carries him through the whole fucking march.
Right.
I guess those rocks and basic training paid off.
Yeah, well, G is kind of a skinny guy, so he probably can't weigh that much. So
It's absurd.
and he's lost all his water weight from marching, so he weighs like 12 pounds at this
True.
point. So
yeah, bag of bones.
but either way, oh man, that reminds me when I was in Kuwait. So when I got sent to Iraq, our unit had a shitload of guys called up from the IRR, and it's not a well known It's not something that's very well known, but after you leave the Army, you typically have to spend 2 years in what's called the IRR, the Individual Ready Reserve. That's where they can call you back if they really need you. It's called they call it the backdoor draft, and it's just as unpleasant as it sounds. Getting the backdoor drafted. You thought you were out. You thought you completed your contract. Then you get a letter in the mail saying report to the nearest Army post. It sucks. We had a bunch of those guys. They got out. They thought they were done, and I forgot this guy's name, but I felt sorry for him because he obviously he had gained quite a bit of weight since he left the Army, and he was out there in Kuwait with us, and the chow hall was about 2 miles from our tents where we were sleeping. And I felt so sorry for this guy because we would walk over there to go get breakfast or lunch or whatever. And the sun, it's like 120 degrees out. And the guy at the front of the chow hall who checks IDs, he says, no, you have to wear a clean uniform to get in the chow hall. And this dude is drenched in sweat from walking 2 miles. And he goes, this uniform was clean when I left the tent. If you tell me to go back and change, I'm going to put on another uniform, and it's going to be drenched in sweat by the time I get... Oh, yeah, it's rough. So,
if he was clever, he would have carried one with him.
Oh, and then changed right there?
Got there, changed.
Yeah, it's brutal. So, moral is...
That's officer logic right there.
Moral of the story is, desert sucks. And
never go to Kuwait.
Never go to Kuwait.
Oh my God, it's like standing on the sun.
This city should not exist. It is a monument to man's arrogance.
That's very true.
People should not live in deserts.
Yeah. I remember my first night there, someone got up to leave the tent, and the sun just, like, my bunk was right there next to the opening of the tent, and someone opened it up, and the light hit my face from the morning. I'm like, oh, God, morning already. And I look at the time. It's 4:15 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck is the sun doing out of this? Anyway. Yeah. Fuck the desert.
So Elaine, Jean-Claude Van Damme, gets charged with insubordination because he dared to save
G. Private G. A fellow
Rossetti.
soldier.
But then we get to a oasis, and no one remembers their judges. Everyone just starts drinking like crazy, and no one is watching. Because in the Book of Judges, they go to the river, and God says, "Hey, everybody who drinks from the cupped hands and is still looking around for the enemy, those are the guys you march into battle with. Leave everyone else behind."
I never would have. Wow, that's an amazingly obscure piece of knowledge. Good job. You paid attention in Sunday school, Ben. Wow.
And Macintosh is like, maybe we set up a machine gun on the high ground.
That's the first thing I was
the
thinking.
Sergeant Chef is like,
yeah, this is a perfect spot for a fucking ambush. It's water. You got the bait there in the middle of this little miniature box canyon that you have out in the desert.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is perfectly set up for, I know where you're going to be, and I can kill you with my horsemen. And so there is an attack, and everybody's shooting bad guys and getting shot. By bad guys, I mean the French Legionnaires. But then Rossetti saves the Sergeant Chef
right before he gets killed.
But then he is killed.
And this is our first encounter that our Legionnaire heroes get with the Rift tribesmen, and we see him briefly earlier in the movie when Sergeant Chef is talking about the deadliness of the enemy they're about to face, the Rift horsemen, and we get our secondary antagonist here. I don't think does he actually ever get a name? The warlord here, the guy with the beard.
I don't remember, and also I don't
believe so.
Yeah. Well, this guy that they got to play the warlord, this actor, I did not believe for a second that he was an African warlord. Like, this guy, he looks like the manager at Applebee's. Dude, this guy, he's got with the beard. he looks like he's going to come to your table and be like, I apologize about the wait, sir. Here's a coupon for a free bloomin' onion. So.
Well, you want to know something about Kamal Krifa, who plays our...
apparently, he's been in a lot of Van Damme movies. I looked him up on IMDb, and I remember seeing that.
That is his thing. He is in Van Damme movies. They must be buddies. He was in Universal Soldier. He was in Maximum Risk. He was in Lionheart, Double Impact, Death Warrant. all of the kickboxer movies.
Oh, it's his buddy.
And Thunder in Paradise, the Hulk Hogan
Oh, that's
movie.
cool. It's Van Damme's little buddy.
Yeah. But they make it back to their outpost, which is just in the middle of nowhere and dilapidated.
Yeah, and they get bitched out by the guy at the door when they first show up because half their platoon is missing. And they're like, where I was expecting a full
And
platoon.
also somehow...
Oh, and they lost their donkeys.
Yeah. And somehow... Yeah. The two, after they get there and start, setting stuff up, the two goons that Carson sent after them just happened to get assigned to the same outpost.
Right.
It's just like, well, that's lucky.
This is the Rue Goldsberg of assassination hitmen. Like, how did shit that you had to go through? Carson, just let it go, man. Send in two of your best goons to join the fucking French Foreign Legion.
It's just like, what would have happened if they signed up? It's like, all right, gentlemen, we are sending you to French Indochina. Right. And it's like, merde. I'm going to die in Vietnam, and I'm not even going to do what I'm supposed, what I joined to do.
Yeah.
We have a recon patrol where conspicuously it's all the people who hate Elaine, Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Macintosh is there, and he's got my back. He doesn't.
Oh, we get the sudden but inevitable betrayal. Macintosh, the one guy whose character is motivated by money and his gambling losses. How the hell did Carson work this out? He must have spies everywhere. But yeah, they find out that Macintosh has been paid off to betray Elaine, and in the middle of this patrol but then suddenly they get ambushed again, and the horsemen come in and they fight. I'm sorry guys, my notes ended at this point because I figured I don't really need to take notes anymore.
That's fair.
Well, the rest of this movie is just a big long
really
fight
is.
scene.
And it's impressive. I got to say, a lot of it, the battle scenes in this, at the same time, they're really bad, but they're also kind of good. He's like, they don't have a lot of those.
They clearly blew a lot of this fort up.
A lot of pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate that they didn't do any of the stupid action movie tropes of just guys flying through the air and shit like that. It was fairly, I gotta say, it was fairly realistic. It made you feel like, fuck, dude, these guys are in trouble and they're getting sieged.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they siege the fort. They steal a bunch of weapons. They send Luther off on a suicide mission. He gets
because he's
caught,
the only,
and when they come back,
he could pose as a local, and no, dude, he can't. He's the only black guy in this entire movie. What are you doing?
Yes.
Hey, well, I believe at the camp we do see some Algerians, but
yeah, he's not pale as the beacons of Gondor, but.
Right.
It's like that's the scale here. So they send him off. They come back the next day to finish the job on the fort. They return all of the cannons that they stole in the worst way possible. And we see Luther there as well. They're dragging him along, and Elaine has to kill Luther to spare him
from being killed. Yeah,
the fate that awaits him.
Bullet in the chest,
kill him to spare him from being killed.
As opposed from getting his head chopped off, which I honestly don't know.
Yeah, dragged behind horses.
Yeah.
Which fuck.
Well, dragged behind horses is rough.
Especially
beheaded,
in the sand where it's just
if I had to choose between beheading or shot, I might choose beheading, to be perfectly honest. That seems relatively painless comparatively. It's at the very least.
There's that old urban legend about how your head is still alive for 10 minutes after it leaves your body. So I'd be, if I was in that situation, I'd be morbidly curious to see if that's really true.
Yeah. Anyways, they attack. It's brutal. Everyone dies except for all of the French die. The French Foreign Legion die except for 3 people. There is Elaine, the head goon, who goes to kill him, but then Mac had survived just barely and shoots the goon. So, and then Mac kills himself, and then Elaine is the only survivor, and he goes out, and they're like, "You're so brave, we're going to let you live to tell everyone what happened here.
And
Peace!" And then they all ride off.
And that's our movie.
That's the end of the fucking movie.
And it's like we didn't wrap up any of the plot threads.
Well, we do find out that off-screen, Katerina escaped and went to America.
So she's the only one.
I don't believe that. I don't think Mac has any way of actually knowing this. I don't think the goons would have told him if this was the case. And I think he's just saying this to give Elaine hope to live.
That makes
sense.
It's
possible. It also could be this is because we don't see Katerina in the scene where Carson is sending his goons. And it could be not only did this guy get my brother killed, but he's also the reason my girlfriend ran away.
Oh, yeah. He's the reason
I
she
don't
ran
care. You two goons, you go kill him. That said, if I was one of those goons, I'd be like, hey, buddy, you want to, just go down to Madrid and just hang out in Spain for a while and then come back and say we did it? How's he going to know? It's 1925.
Yeah. So we don't see any of our characters, our surviving characters again after this. Carson is still on the loose. I was for sure there was going to be a scene where Elaine returns to France and spin kicks Carson in the face, but nope, no spin kicks at all. And that's our movie. And
he survives to, I'm sure, join the Vichy government.
And yeah, that's our movie.
All
and
right.
So now I've got to ask you, gentlemen, on a scale of 1 to 10 French foreign baguettes, how many baguettes do you rate this movie?
Baguette. Baguette.
The 4 baguettes I'm about to throw in the oven. Which actually I would give it more normally, but that's literally the amount of baguettes I'm about to bake, so fuck it.
The writing is poor. The script is bad. Everything else about it is pretty good. The costumes are good. The equipment, the rifles all look right. I'm not a rivet counter, but everything felt the truthiness of it.
It does feel like some truthiness.
Also, I appreciated that the locals win.
That's true. Yeah,
and it does feel kind of just that is the point. This is also talking about, hey, the negatives of colonialism and how the French Empire did not care and was just sending 2 small detachments to do what they're trying to do, and just, that's okay, we'll find some more foreigners to send. And so I did appreciate the bleak downbeat ending. So I'm going to give it 6.
I'd have to say about the same. I'd say between 5 and 6 because it's
not
not a good movie, but it's not really a bad movie either. It's, like I said, not at all what I was expecting. And I loved seeing Carson in a villain role. I want to find more of his acting credits because, man, he makes a great villain. I wish we would have seen more of him.
For all 2 minutes.
Well, if you want to watch Ella Enchanted, he plays an ogre who tries to eat Anne Hathaway. So
okay. I had no interest in Ella Enchanted until this moment, right? Well, there we have it.
All right. Well,
okay.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with the first episode of Attack on Titan.
Yes.
Which is the number 17 highest rated show of all time on IMDb, by the way. With season 1, episode 1, to you in 2,000 years, the fall of Shiganshina. In a walled city besieged by fear of titans, impulsive Eren dreams of a world beyond the walls until a sudden attack shatters the fragile peace and changes everything.
Did they get a letter?
They get a letter.
They must.
Does somebody have a terrible
I will say that
yes.
If someone gets a letter before the attack, then you automatically get a bonus point. So.
All right.
I have already seen most of this show, so I'm not going to be in the airlock for predictions.
I trust you to make predictions. What?
No, Victor, I already know every major story.
But you said you've only seen half of it, right?
I said I've seen half of it and read most of it.
I trust you to. You can make predictions. Just make them for like the final season.
Victor. I cannot
Okay, fine.
make
All right.
predictions.
You know what? I think you've
it's-
won like 70% of our seasons anyway. So yeah, you need a break.
It's fine. I'm not upset about it. I'll have fun knowing what's about to happen most of the time and making sly jokes so that when you re-listen after you know what happens, you go back and you're like, "Damn it, Xhafer." You'll get the full "Who are
Okay.
you" experience.
That sounds
over
good.
here
That
in
sounds good. You'll be the
shortest time
referee
frame.
this season. You'll be
So-
our weeb referee.
As Laura hears this and then scrambles to go back to listen to Who Are You episodes where I made jokes about the Final Four without saying anything. So, anyways, we'll be back with that. But before we get to that and our 2 weeks off, we need to say thank you to Ripe. Thanks so much for our theme music. We love Hagoon Squad. We love you guys. Go see them on tour this summer if you have any opportunity to. They're fucking great live. And yeah, looking forward to hopefully them announcing a date somewhere near me.
And thank you to you, the listener. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get our podcasts. We would really appreciate it. And if you don't like our podcast, well, then feel free to join the LTO Foreign Legion of fans of other podcasts. We're going to be starting up that in Discord. So yeah, we'll take anyone. We won't ask questions. Make whatever username you want.
And we'll see you next time on Precisamente.
Oh, nice.